Okay, let's now look at question 4. So question 4 is a continuation of number patterns, and this is a quadratic pattern. Okay, so the quadratic number pattern 4p11q22 has a constant second difference of 1. Show that p equals 7 and q equals 16. So let's start by writing this down. 4p11q22. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, and now I'm gonna have some number here. I'm gonna have some number here. I'm gonna have some number here, which is the difference of these, and some number there, right? And our constant second difference is 1. Okay, so let's think now. 4, sorry, this has to be p minus 4, right? Because it's the difference between those two. And this is 11 minus p. Okay, and this is q minus 11. Okay, and this is 22 minus q. Okay, and when we subtract all of those, we should get 1. Okay, so if I take 11 minus p minus 4, okay, so I took this, and I subtracted it by that, right? I must get 1. And when I do that for the other two, so I say 22 minus q minus 11, I must also get 1. So let's solve for these now. Okay, so 11 minus p plus 4 equals 1. So minus 2p equals 2, and I'll just bring those to the other side. Okay, so 1 minus 11 minus 4 gives us minus 14. So therefore p equals to 7 because I divide by minus 2. Okay, and for q, let's do the same thing. So 22 minus q plus 11 equals 1. Okay, so minus 2q equals to 1 minus 11 minus 22 gives us minus 32. Okay, and now I'll divide both sides by minus 2, and that gives us 16. Okay, so p is 7 and q is 16. So that means these answers are correct. Okay, that's 4.1. Let's now look at 4.2. So 4.2 says determine the general term of the quadratic pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to shift this over a bit, and now I'm gonna edit this a bit so that we get actual numbers in here. Okay, so in place of p, I'm gonna say 7. So 7 minus 4 is 3. Okay, and here we had 7, and here we had 16. Okay, and then 11 minus 7 is 4. Okay, and then 16 minus 11 is 5. Okay, and then 22 minus 16 is 6. Okay, now how do we find the Tn, so the general pattern, the general term, sorry, of the quadratic pattern? So we can say that 2a is equal to 1. Okay, and 3a plus b. Okay, so 3a plus b equals to 3, and a plus b plus c equals to 4. Okay, cool. So a equals to a half, right? Now I can take that half, substitute it in here. Okay, so 3 times half is obviously 3 over 2, and then 3 minus 3 over 2 is 3 over 2. Okay, and then I can take A and B now and substitute it in here to get C. Okay, so C equals to, let's see, so 3 over 2 plus 1 over 2. Okay, and then 4 minus that is 2. Okay, now we can write this. So Tn is equal to an squared plus bn plus c, and now I can just sub in the values that I calculated. Okay, and again, you should always test the answer that you get. Okay, so let's take this. Let's try it with the pattern that we have over here, right? So I'll say in my calculator now 1 over 2n. So in place of n, I'll put 1 squared plus 3 over 2n. Now instead of n, I'll say 1 plus 2. And the answer I get is 4. Okay. And now wherever I put in 1 in my calculator, I'll put in 2. So now I'll have half times 2 squared plus 3 over 2 times 2 plus 2. And that gives me 7. And then if I do this with the rest, so I'll just try one more now. So if we put in 3, I should get 11. Okay, so that means our answer is correct. So you should always test your answers to make sure that they're right. Now that we have that there, we can simply do this one. Okay, so determine the value of n if Tn is equal to 232. Okay, so this is 4.3. So 232 equals to half n squared plus 3 over 2n plus 2. Okay, let's bring all of our things over to one side. So I'll have 2 minus 232, which is obviously minus 230, right, equals to 0. Okay, and now I can just use the quadratic equation. So minus b plus minus the root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? And when I punch that, so I'll first put it in my calculator with plus and then with minus, and I'll get two answers, right? So let's do it. So minus b, so in place of b, I'm going to put 3 over 2 plus the root of b squared. So 3 over 2 squared minus 4a is half c minus 230 all over 2a. So instead of a, I'll say half. Okay, if I press equals, I'll get 20. Or n is equal to, now I'll go to my calculator, and where I had plus here, I'll put in minus. Okay, and that gives me negative 23. Okay, now think about this here, right? Can I have a negative term? No, so that means the answer is 20. Okay, and then I say this is not equal to that. Okay, let's look at 4.4. Okay, so it's a continuation of this, right? If the sum of two consecutive terms in the pattern is 1227, calculate the difference between these two terms. Okay, so the sum of two consecutive terms, right? So let's think about this. Tn plus Tn plus 1. Okay, what does that mean? Let's say, for argument's sake, this is T5 we're talking about. Okay, and let's just make up a number. Let's say at T5 the value is 30, right? And at T6 the value is 31 or 40, right? That means the sum of two consecutive terms in this example would be 70, right? Because I just add those two. So this is Tn and this is Tn plus 1. Okay, so in this case we're told that Tn plus 1 gives us 1227. Okay, now we have equations for this here. We know what Tn is. We calculated it here. Okay, so in place of Tn, I'll put in my equation, which was half n squared plus 3 over 2n plus 2. Okay, so that's for Tn. Right, now I'm adding all of that to Tn plus 1. Okay, so now in place of n I'll put n plus 1. Okay, so all of this is for that. Okay, so now let's expand everything and solve for n. Okay, so half n squared plus 3 over 2n plus 2 plus half. Now it's square binomials. Okay, so it's n squared plus 2 times n, right? Because remember you multiply these two, so you'll get n times 1, which is n, and then you double it, so 2n, and then you square the last term. Okay, plus 3 over 2n plus 3 over 2, right? Just multiply it into the brackets, plus 2, and then I'll bring this to the other side, minus 1227 equals 0. Okay, let's do this one more time. Let's just go through and open up these brackets. Okay, and you should be very careful not to make any errors because it'll make the whole question, the whole answer wrong. Okay, now I'll group like terms. So let's find all the n squareds. Okay, I think that's the only two. So half plus half is 1, so we just have n squared. Now let's find n. So here's n, here's n. Okay, so I think it's just those two. Okay, so 1 plus 3 over 2 is 5 over 2. Okay, and now let's find all the ones without variables. Okay, and oof, lucky I got this, and I'm just looking now, this is supposed to be 3 over 2n. Okay, so this should actually be, this is also n. Okay, so that should actually be 3 over 2 plus n, so plus 1, plus 3 over 2. Okay, so this is 4n. Okay, and then now we can add all the uns, the ones without any variables, the constants. Okay, so let's do that quickly. So we have 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2 plus 2 minus 1227. Okay, and that gives us minus 1221. Okay, and equals to 0. So now let's use the quadratic equation. So minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, and again now I'm just gonna put this into my calculator, and then one time do it with plus and then the second time with minus. Okay, so minus b, so it will be minus 4, right, because this is b, plus the root of b squared, so 4 squared is 16, minus 4a, a is just 1, and then c is minus 1221. Okay, all over 2a, so 2 times 1, and that gives us 33, or n is equal to, and now in place of plus I'll put minus 37. Okay, again we can only have a positive thing, so this is the right answer and this is not right. Okay, but now let's read the question. What did the question actually ask for? It said the sum of the two consecutive terms is 1227. Okay, so we found where those two terms are, right? We now know the value of n. We know that n is 33. So that means if you take t33 plus t34, because that's the next term, two consecutive terms, we're getting 1227. Okay, but now they're telling us to find the difference between those two terms. Right, so now if we have the value of the we know which term it is, we can easily just subtract. So now we're going to say t 34 minus t 33. Okay, and now it's just a case of saying half 34 squared. Where's our thing? Half n squared plus 3 over 2. So plus 3 over 2n plus 2 minus, now this, the whole thing gets subtracted, right? So half times 33 squared plus 3 over 2 times 33 plus 2. Okay, so let's see, that gives us half 34 squared plus 3 over 2 times 34 is 51 plus 2. I'm just going to add this 2 straight away. Okay, so this will become 53 minus half 33 squared minus, now 3 over 2 times 33 is 99 over 2 minus 2. Okay, so I just multiply this negative sign by each of those. Okay, and now I'll just put all of this into my calculator and I get an answer. So half times 34 squared plus 53 minus 1 over 2 times 33 squared minus 99 over 2 minus 2. Okay, and that gives us a final answer of 35. And that answer is correct.